covering all of 8 country. Straight ahead on Pro 8 News at 6, the man accused of sending a judge a sexually explicit letter could face another decade in prison. Plus, the war of words continues between the 2 gubernatorial candidates over their advertising strategies. And why did some downtown commuters hear some strange bird calls this morning? The news is next.
Pro 8 News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Good evening, and thank you for choosing Laredo's top-rated newscast. I'm Audra Schrader.
And I'm Tim Gutierrez. A man behind bars may have gotten himself into more trouble and may have more time added to his sentence now.
Joshua Burkett is serving time for a robbery, but is now facing new charges. Michele Lockhart joins us live in the story.
Audra, Tim, the district attorney's office says Burkett allegedly sent Judge Ender a letter that was sexual in nature and threatened her. This is video of 27-year-old Joshua Burkett. He is currently serving 10 years behind bars for a robbery, but may now be facing even more time. That's because he allegedly sent Judge Ender the threatening letter while he was behind bars. Burkett was formally charged today for retaliation. He entered a not guilty plea, but Judge Ender isn't the only judge who received similar letters in the mail.
He has allegedly sent out 6 letters to other judges, threatening harm, threatening to kill in some situations.
Now, the pretrial hearing for Burkett is set for September 19th. The sentencing for retaliation can range anywhere between 2 to 10 years and can include a $10,000 fine. Reporting live in the newsroom, Michele Lockhart, Laredo's Pro 8 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Michelle. A man accused of 3 counts of injury to a child and 12 counts of sexual assault was sentenced today. 23-year-old Jorge Silva Valderes pleaded guilty to 4 of the 15 charges. The other charges were dismissed. Valderes will now be serving 7 years behind bars for those 4 counts.
A Laredo woman found out the hard way today that it doesn't help to cheat on your tax return. Marta Martinez was charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office with 26 counts of tax fraud allegedly committed between 1996 and 1997. In addition to tax fraud, Martinez also is being charged with making false statements on her tax return, as well as aiding in preparing a false tax document. If convicted of all the counts that she faces, she could serve a maximum penalty of 11 years in prison and a fine of $600,000.
A murder suspect who has been a no-show in court must face a psychological exam. 18-year-old John KEPLER is accused of killing Diego Franco. Seen here or seen there actually in that picture you just looked at. The judge for the county court at Law Number 1 ordered an evaluation of KEPLER, but his attorney disagreed and filed a complaint with the 4th Court of Appeals in San Antonio. The court sided with the judge. KEPLER is scheduled to be back in court on Thursday for his psychological evaluation. KEPLER skipped a court-ordered appointment last month. Now there is a warrant out for his arrest. 2 parents accused of injury to a child were no-shows in court today. 27-year-old Rosa Elvira Morales and 34-year-old Jeremios Rene Cano Chavez were charged back in April. Now, this isn't the first time the couple has been in trouble with the law. They recently got their 4 kids back after Child Protective Services says they took them away for abuse and neglect. This case is still under investigation. The 2 are still on the run. Police believe they may be in Mexico.
Across the border now, 2 men are arrested for transporting 7 undocumented immigrants. The undocumented immigrants are from Honduras. They were caught by authorities after the men smuggling them failed to stop at the Nuevo Laredo checkpoint. The Suburban they were riding in was later pulled over on the highway. 1 Mexican national and an Honduran were arrested in that case. Also in our sister city, a 27-year-old mother is dead while riding in the car with her husband and young daughter. The victim from Piedras Negras was killed instantly when her husband lost control of the vehicle they were riding in, hit a street light, then crashed into a cargo truck. The husband was taken into custody. He was not been charged with her death. As for the 9-month-old, she escaped the accident without any injury.
Only half of the presenters expected at the El Metro Advisory Committee today showed up, and that left many asking questions. There were 4 items on the agenda, with half of them planned to be presented by the Texas Department of Transportation, but they were not at the meeting. TxDOT was scheduled to report on the ongoing street construction and the border inspection stations. Although the Traffic Safety Department was at the meeting to answer questions with only half of their presenters on hand, The committee has some concerns.
About the Milo interchange, and they seem to have had some problems moving that project along, and it's important to find out what the status is.
Putting speed humps in the Plantation subdivision, especially on Country Club Drive, but you also have to take into consideration that you have the Country Club there, and you can slow down traffic.
This advisory board is only advised to make recommendations to City Council but cannot make a policy. Therefore, they may have to wait until their next meeting on the morning of August the 29th before any action could be taken.
Now to Decision 2002, a federal judge referenced in a new commercial aired by Governor Rick Perry's campaign says the ad takes his words out of context. The Republican governor's spot says federal judge Harry Lee Hudspeth confirmed Democrat Tony Sanchez's Tesoro savings and loan wired millions of laundered drug dollars. The spot also contends Sanchez didn't fully cooperate with a federal investigation of the laundering. Hudspeth says that his ruling had nothing to do with Laredo, but rather with the First City National Bank of El Paso. He says the Perry ad expands far beyond its proper boundaries. Meanwhile, Governor Rick Perry continues to lead the polls in Texas, but his Democratic challenger is closing the gap. So we wanted to hear why both candidates want your vote. Tonight at 10, we start a Pro 8 News special report in which we go one-on-one with both candidates. First, we start with the governor and an Only on 8 interview. Rick Perry talks about the differences between him and Sanchez, including why he thinks Sanchez is not being truthful about where his money is coming from and holding back some of his financial reports.
I think you have to be open and honest about your personal finances. That's the reason we've asked Mr. Sanchez to be open and honest about his personal finances. He refuses to do that.
Hear more from the governor in an exclusive interview new at 10 tonight. Perry talks education, transportation, and border issues. Then stay tuned tomorrow for an exclusive with Tony Sanchez and why he thinks Perry has sold out the governor's office. Join us for Pro 8 News at 10. Audra?
Tim, city leaders are defending their tax increase or proposed property tax increase they want to put in place for the next fiscal year. The city staff presented a total budget of more than $240 million yesterday to the Laredo City Council. The dollars will help fund 110 new jobs for the city police and fire departments. The proposed tax increase would then hike up to 4.4 cents for every $100. That would amount to $44 a year for the owner of a $100,000 home.
What is it worth to you to make sure you have an ambulance if you have a heart attack and that an ambulance is available? And what is it worth to you if you have a break-in or somebody breaking into your house while you're in there for there to be a police response? What is it worth?
The city's current property tax stands at 0.58 cents for every $100.
And now to the craziest story of the day. 2 downtown visitors become jailbirds tonight after police caught them pecking around a Laredo plaza. Police responded to calls concerning these 2 emus early this morning. Neighbors reportedly saw them walking through St. Peter's Plaza and down Santa Rita Avenue around 5 a.m. Animal Control picked up the birds and took them to the animal shelter. They think the emus walked here themselves along the riverbanks or someone dropped them off. If you know anything about the birds, call Animal Control at 795-2485. We're told the owner could be cited for allowing livestock here in the city limits.
And those birds are probably pretty happy that they're now, or they have been captured, and now they're at the animal shelter in some shade.
Because it was pretty hot out there today.
Very hot.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Heatwave Berger live in the Weather Center with more. Heatwave?
It's 99 right now, and it looks like we're in store for a breezy evening, a warm evening. At 10 o'clock, we'll still be a little bit over 90. I'll have all the weather in a few minutes.
And still ahead on Pro 8 News at 6, find out why a driver used his 18-wheeler to plow into a tire store.
Plus, there's more bad news tonight for air travelers.
We're covering all of 8 country, including Los Dos Laredos, Miranda City, and Asherton.
You're watching Pro 8 News at 6, coverage you can count on.
Pro 8 News continues with Tim Gutierrez and Audra Schrader.
Covering Texas tonight, a wrecker driver now faces aggravated assault charges for allegedly using his truck for revenge. Police say the driver plowed into this tire store yesterday evening in Houston. Witnesses tell police the tow truck driver was aiming for another driver from a competing tow truck company. He's now being detained as police investigate that incident. The 2 victims who were hit are in fair condition tonight. And 2 teenagers suspected of stealing several new cars are now being held in custody. The thefts took place at the Rail Yard Distribution Center in Mesquite, Texas. Authorities say the suspects knocked down a chain link fence before stealing the cars. In all, as many as 10 new Dodge vehicles were stolen, with 4 of them recovered in Dallas and 1 recovered in Mesquite. Police suspect the boys may have been working with a group of teenagers. And luckily, nobody was hurt today when an 18-wheeler hauling a load of beer crashed, spilling some of the cargo onto the street. Houston police say it appears the driver took a turn too fast and the rig went over. Crews spent several hours cleaning up the spilled beer there.
On the business front tonight, the leaders of 3 telecom titans say their financial turmoil won't cause major phone or internet disruptions. The chairman of the FCC also reassured Congress that we are not facing a communications crisis. Top executives from WorldCom, Global Crossing, and Q-West Communications testified before the Senate Commerce Committee this afternoon. WorldCom filed the biggest corporate bankruptcy in history earlier this month. Global Crossing is also bankrupt, and Q-West Communications disclosed its own accounting errors on Sunday. The Justice Department and the SEC are currently investigating all 3 telecom companies for accounting irregularities. And Vanguard Airlines today suspended operations as it prepares to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The Kansas City-based discount carrier also says it plans to lay off most of its employees. Vanguard served 17 destinations, including Austin and Dallas-Fort Worth. The Air Transportation Stabilization Board today announced it had rejected a request that the federal government guarantee an $8 million loan for that airline.
We've had such a mild summer that anytime we hit above 100, people start to complain, saying it's too hot.
You ask heat wave, you'd say this is mild.
Yeah, this is great, heat wave would say.
We're just getting into really the territory that we would normally occupy as far as temperatures are concerned. 100-degree weather. We got up to 101. Nights do continue warm this year. 80, the average has worked out to be 76 for this day. 3 years ago, it was 110. I'll be right back.
It's summer 2002, the international year of 2. And to celebrate, Pizza Hut is continuing the 2002 for deal. Right now, you can get 2 large one-topping pizzas fully loaded for only $15.99. Incredible, we know, but wait, there's more. You'll also get a 2-liter Pepsi free. You got that? I'm talking 2 large pizzas with one topping of your choice, $15.99. And you get a 2-liter Pepsi free. And nothing beats free. The summer 2002 for deal, only at Pizza Hut.